stop the takedown is what I need to do. I think that'll make the fight easier for me. If it hits the back, I've got ways of getting up. I'll be able to attack him off my back, but stopping the takedown will be the best route to victory, you know? So it will save me energy, and I can use that energy to bust him up.
He is the man who will fight for the UFC welterweight title in just a matter of days, coming all the way from Australia. I am always excited to speak to Jack Della Maddalena. Jack, how are you?
Good, Damon. It's good to talk to you. Touchdown
As
in
always,
Montreal, ready to go.
how is Canada treating you so far?
Yeah, so far so good. We got in yesterday afternoon and had a good feed, good sleep, but it's a nice spot.
How long is that trip from Australia? How many hours?
It's a long trip. I think the quickest you could do it is 25 hours probably. And then obviously extra layer. It can be a 30-hour trip.
So like you win the title, you're going to tell the UFC your first title defense has to be in Perth, right? Like you got to tell them, like I'm not 25 hours is rough.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm used to it now. I'm used to it. But yeah, to have the UFC in the backyard would be a lot easier on the travel, the time, you know. But
Yeah,
it is what
absolutely.
it is.
So, of course, huge opportunity here. You were going to fight Leon Edwards in March. Now you're getting Belal Muhammad the title shot in May. What was like when you got word? Like, I imagine knowing you as I do, your immediate answer was yes. But what was your reaction when they called you and said, "Hey, we want you not? You're not fighting Leon Edwards. You're going to fight for the title instead."
Yeah, it was obviously a dream call. Dream call. It's hard to, yeah, that's the dream call for a MMA fighter. So it was an easy yes. I think it was obviously what I was working towards, and then I was thinking beat Leon and then I'll fight Bilal, but just that call just pretty much took out a big step, a big challenge in that journey. So it was a easy call, and yeah, I believe I've got what it takes to get it done.
Absolutely. Can I ask, like, was there, because this has got to be like an emotional, year and a half because you win the fight, you had a huge win over Gilbert Burns, you have the arm injury, and then like delays and getting back, and then you finally get healthy, you're finally ready to go, you get Leon Edwards, a huge main event, but then you get the title shot. So, like, it's got to be like this last year has got to be kind of pretty wild for you.
Yeah, crazy turn of events, you know, really was. And then just, yeah, a big up and down. And then, yeah, getting back in, having that fight booked in, I was so excited. I wanted to fight in Sydney, so I wanted to even fight February, you know. I wanted to not be out for a full year. So I was really trying to chase to fight in Sydney. And then the UFC pretty much came to me and said, couldn't get someone for Sydney. Do you want to fight Leon in March? That was another one. It was an easy yes because it was like former champion. Like this is so good. Like who cares if it's an extra 12 weeks or an extra 9 weeks on from UFC Sydney? We have to take it. And then the same thing. It was like called. That's not happening. Doing a fight below, and they said it's another 12 weeks away. And I think I was 3 weeks away from the fight, so another 12 weeks. But you know what? It was just again. It was like a long way, but it was an easy yes. You know. No training camp is a waste of time. You know, you get the training camp done, you've done the work. I feel like I already, just by doing the Leon Edwards training camp, I already beat him. So coming in with confidence that I've already taken him out.
100%, 100%. Can I ask, like, I obviously you're healthy now, Jack, but how is the arm? Because I know that was like that delayed you coming back.
Yeah, it took a long time, but it's solid now. I got it's ready to go. Quite end of last year was really like starting to feel good. So I was ready. Felt pretty good fun in February. Obviously, I had to make sure I could take some kicks. I had to get a couple of good rounds of sparring in. But after my first like getting the sparring in, I thought, yeah, this is good to go. So it's been journey, but yeah, it's a tough sport. So you cop injuries, but I feel like I'm back to where I was.
Yeah, you surgically repaired arm. Now you get to hit Bilal with it, right?
That's it. A little bit of extra steel in there.
um, yeah, and the time, like I know the time, like to go from thinking you're fighting in February, then to March, and now to May. If there is one benefit, of course, is because Leon Edwards, of course, we know is a very good striker, well known as a striker. Now you're going to Bilal, who is so well known as a wrestler. So I'm sure that extra time probably didn't hurt. Not that you don't train wrestling all the time, but Leon Edwards to Belal Muhammad is a pretty dramatic switch in terms of opponents.
100%. In terms of styles and yeah, their game plans are completely different. So it was good to, I guess, yeah, it was good to get the extra time for such a big fight.
Yeah. Let me ask because Bilal has been one of these guys who's just been so underrated and people just consistently kind of look past him. And I know he likes to kind of, ride the trolls a little bit online, but it feels like he deserves to be here. He's earned to be here. But like what is your impression of Bilal? Because it just seems like even as champion, he still isn't really getting the credit maybe he's earned. I mean, when you look at his resume, he's beaten a ton of good guys.
Yeah, no, I respect the resume for sure. He has had a very good career. Obviously, a hardworking guy. He's put a lot of wins together, which isn't easy, especially at the sort of level of fighters he's fighting. So yeah, I respect it.
I usually don't like to play the like he said, she said kind of game, but I did talk to Bilal like a week ago and I was asking him about this matchup. And of course, going in, everyone's thinking striker versus grappler, right? Like you're an incredible striker, he's an incredible grappler. That's going to be the clash. But Bilal has said, and maybe this is just gamesmanship, but he's like, I want to show off my Canelo hands. I want to show I got out the best boxing in the welterweight division. Kind of a two-part question, Jack. A, what do you make of Bilal striking from what you've seen? And B, do you actually think he'll go in there and throw hands with you?
I mean, I think obviously the fight. Well, I think he's striking. It's fast. He has a fast, awkward striking style, so it's effective. He doesn't. Obviously, he does. He's not a very damaging guy because he's not putting. Just he doesn't put all his weight behind his shots. It seems like he just snaps them out there. It's fast, so he can touch you and then he can get on your hip. So he's a well-rounded guy. What was B? Question B.
Uh,
What was B?
do you think he'll
Do I think
actually
he will
strike?
strike? Obviously, the fight starts on the feet, so I think he will come out, dip his toes a little bit. If he's feeling comfortable and his fast little flicking hands he thinks are landing, he might stay on the feet a little bit. But I think when he starts feeling uncomfortable, I think that's when you see him start to revert back to his bread and butter.
Yeah, it's the classic thing, right? Like they say they're going to do it, and then they feel your power on the feet, and then suddenly they're going for it. So, like, I know in your head, like, I'm sure you would be like, please, please, let's go for a
Yeah.
boxing match. But you got to know in the back of your head, like, you tag a guy a couple times with your power, they're going to turn into a wrestler, whether Belal Muhammad or anybody else, right? Like, that's just kind of who you are.
Yep, 100%. Obviously he's good at winning, so he'll revert back to just trying to win, which is yeah, and that's his. I think that obviously I don't underestimate his striking, so I think it's. I think I can get him on the feet and on the ground. I think I'm a better MMA fighter than him. I wouldn't even want to have a boxing match with him because I like MMA. I like the rule set. I like kick him and knee him and elbow him.
Let me ask you about the grappling aspect because of course that's going to be the biggest question, right? Like how are you going to deal with his wrestling? Obviously, you went in there and fought a good guy like Gilbert Burns. You end up knocking him out in the third round. How comfortable do you feel in that aspect of the game? Because you got to imagine at some point, whether it's 1, 2, 3, whatever the round is, he's going to shoot for the takedown. He's going to try to get you on the ground. So how comfortable are you in that aspect, especially with the extra time you've had to prepare on knowing who you're going against?
Yeah, for sure. I think I can stop the takedown. I think I'm comfortable on my back, and I think that's sometimes not good for him. Like sometimes works to my detriment. So keep it on. I think yeah, stop the takedown is what I need to do. I think that'll make the fight easier for me. If it hits the back, I've got ways of getting up. I'll be able to attack him off my back, but stopping the takedown will be the best route to victory. So it will save me energy, and I can use that energy to bust him up.
And from what I see, maybe you've developed a pretty good dart stroke from what I see in that Craig Jones video.
Yep. You saw that? That was nice, right?
How is it? Craig is such a legend working with him, man. I know that's got to be an incredible, because like wrestling, like again, I know you're going to try to stop the takedown, but if you do end up on the ground or you do have in a scramble, being able to snatch those submissions is a huge part of it, right? Like that's a huge weapon to use against a guy like that.
Yeah, 100%. And Craig is a very he's obviously a master grappler. Cool guy as well. So it's just cool to and he understands MMA. He's obviously been in the uh corner of Volk and other fight. He's been in the corner of Volk for many of his fights, and he's good. He's good at putting systems together for MMA.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, I mean that's a good guy to have around. And like I said, man, that when you can put Craig Jones to sleep, you're doing something special.
Yeah, you saw that. So,
I like
yes.
that. Little grip there, little grip there. The other aspect of Bilal's game, and again, I'm not going to get into game plan because I mean, I don't think there's any giant secret. You want to go out there and knock this guy out. Of course, you would take a submission, but you'll also take a decision if that's what happens. Of course, there's going to be a lot of questions about his cardio, his conditioning. That's maybe his best weapon, if we're being honest. Like maybe it's not his striking, it's not his wrestling. It's the fact that he just keep pushing the pace for 25 minutes. If the fight goes 25 minutes, which again is the championship fight, it may very well go that long. How confident are you in that aspect of your game, just getting ready for a guy who unless you put him away, he's going to be there for all 25 minutes?
Yeah, 100%. He will be there the whole time, but I'll be getting back to my feet for 25 minutes. If I'm down on the third round, if he's holding me down, I'll still be able to get back to my feet and do some damage. And as long as time as we're on the feet, I feel like he's going to be copping damage. So I'll keep getting back to my feet, and I can do that for 5 rounds. Keep getting back to my feet, stopping takedowns, stinging him.
It's funny. I don't know. I don't even know how much you pay attention to this, but have you noticed? Like, it seems like in the days and weeks leading into this fight, there's been a bit of a shift. Like when it was first announced, people were like, "Oh well, Bilal's just going to take Jack down. He's going to wrestle him for 25 minutes, and that's the fight." But it seems like the narrative has changed a lot in the recent weeks, where a lot of guys are like, "I think Jack's going to get it done. I think Jack's going to knock him out." I don't know how much you pay attention. Fighters, especially, who said like, "Don't count out Jack Della Maddalena." Have you noticed this, and do you appreciate that people are starting to give you the credit going into this fight and saying this is a lot closer than people think? Actually, I think Jack's going to knock him out. I've seen that a lot lately.
Yeah, I haven't really paid too much attention to it. I thought everyone thought I was going to get held down. That's what I would have thought the general consensus is. So, but I'm looking forward to prove people wrong. I guess that's the beautiful thing of the fight game. You never know what's going to happen until it happens. And it's not always what you think will happen.
100%. 100%. Your focus is only on Belal Muhammad, but can I ask, I'm sure you've seen that Ian Machado Gary is coming over to weigh in as the backup. What do you, I mean, I assume everything's going to work out perfectly fine. You're going to fight Belal Muhammad. That's going to be the fight in a matter of days. But do you even think about the backup guy, or just like, what is your impression of Ian Machado Gary in terms of like just as a fighter? Because even if, like I said, even if you go out there and knock out Belal Muhammad, he may end up being the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon line him up. He's made the trip. After I beat Bilal, get him some wrap his hands and send him out there.
I love it. I love it. I love that attitude. I guess, like, again, your only focus is Bilal, but what do you make of the lay of land at welterweight? Because you got a guy like Ian who made his call. Good for him, right? You should make that call. You should absolutely try to call for a title shot after a big win. You got Shavkat, of course, who was the number one contender prior to you getting the title shot. You got Sean Brady, who's been on an incredible run. And I do a podcast with Matt Brown, and Matt said when we were kind of looking at the lay of the land at welterweight, he's like, as much as Ian looked good against Carlos Prates, he said, I still don't think he has that signature win. He hasn't gone out there and just put somebody away in dominant fashion. Yeah. And coming close to beating Shavkat was kind of his like claim, but he still lost that fight. So I'm curious what you think of the lay of the land, because everything goes well on May 10th. You beat Belal Muhammad. There are a line of guys. You got Shavkat, you got Sean, and you've got Ian Machado Gary.
Yeah, I mean, it's tight for sure. It's real tight. Obviously, it's sort of like, I always feel like, Shavkat's obviously, hopefully he's ready to go. I think he's obviously the clear number one contender, but the more he stays out for, another number one contender will obviously show up. And I feel like after the Sean Brady fight, it seemed pretty obvious that he was the number one guy. If Shavkat wasn't around. Now you got Ian. Seems that, I guess, so they've got to fight each other. We've got to keep the division moving. I think hopefully someone's ready to go soon after this fight.
Yeah,
hopefully within 8 weeks after this fight, we can get another welterweight title fight going.
So you want to stay active. You do not want to sit around and wait.
I would like to stay active. Obviously, if it came to Perth, I'd have to think about, would I want to wait it out, but would also be cool to see what happens.
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen like TKO, the ownership group, like they've done this deal with Perth. I know WWE's going down there pretty soon. So I mean, it seems like Perth is going to be a good bed for MMA, for UFC and WWE. So I'm sure that's like
Yeah.
to your ears, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If you could get Shavkat in Perth, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Now I know one other thing you mentioned leading into this fight. And again, I know this is not your concentration, but I know you mentioned if it worked out that way, because it seems like you becoming champion is like determining a lot of the future of this division. Because I know the Islam Makhachev factor that's out there. Everyone's saying if you win, Islam's going to want to come up and fight you at welterweight. And I know you said you welcome that and said maybe a little revenge for your boy Volk. There's this like debate going on right now about Ilya Taporia going up and getting an immediate title shot. I think the argument against Ilya is he only had one title defense in featherweight. So it's like, did he really do everything he needed to do? Whereas Volk had kind of cleaned everybody out when he went up and fought Islam. So if that is the move, and I know you said you're into it, I guess the question is Islam deserving? I personally think it's okay because he has defended the title like 4 times.
Yeah, I think so. My thoughts are I think the double champ thing, it shouldn't be a thing, I think, if you just haven't defended your belt. That'd be my opinion. Has Taporia defended the 45 pound
He
belt?
defended it one time against Max Holloway. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see. I think, yeah, I think so. I think Islam deserves a shot if he comes up.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, and I know maybe this doesn't even matter to you, but you could argue that's the biggest fight, right? Like just because of his name and everything. No offense to Shavkat or anybody else at welterweight.
Yeah.
Like
I think yeah, I think no one would have a problem I'm sure that it would be an annoying spot for Shavkat, but that's just the beauty. I think that's the thing about the double champ. It does obviously throw off a division, and that's why it shouldn't happen all the time. But I think with Islam, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to deny him with what he's been doing. And like I said, you can't deny that would be a big fight. I mean, you and Islam in Perth, good Lord, think about that crowd.
It would be awesome, and it has a bit of a story. Obviously, the Volk and Makhachev first fight was in Perth. So I reckon a lot of the Perth crowd would have definitely left that feeling a bit bitter. So they'll be coming back for a bit of revenge. So I think it would go up.
It's a good time to be in the Jack Della Maddalena business because you win next week and you got a lot of options, man.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I think the division's in a good spot, but a bit of work to do, and I'm focused entirely on dispatching of Belal Muhammad.
Yeah, and I know Belal gets a lot of hate. We've said that before, but it does seem like there is a lot of mutual respect there. I know you're not a trash talker. That's never been your way. And I think in a lot of ways that disarms guys because you're just not out there saying crazy things. I think Colby Covington made a huge mistake trying to saying the really personal things he said about Leon Edwards. And even though that fight wasn't, tremendous, I think Leon still went out there and handled business. You guys have been pretty friendly. I don't think there's any necessarily bad blood. And you just go out there, handle your business, get another knockout, and take the title home to Australia, right?
Yeah, that's it. No bad blood, but I'm coming with vicious intentions. That's it. That's the fight game.
I love it. Well, Jack, man, I appreciate you taking time this close to the fight. Obviously, glad you made it over to Montreal safe and sound. Have fun over there. I've been to Montreal several times. It's a cool city. Not that you get to see much when you're fighting, but it's a cool city. So have fun.
Yeah, it is a cool spot. We've enjoyed it, so it's pretty cool to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, best of luck next week in the fight, man. Can't wait to see you go out there and do your thing.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Simon. Good to talk to you again.